Okay, so this is our presentation on for our final project for critical thinking with me, Colin Wallace, and Nicholas Way. And we did our conspiracy theory on whether the United States moon landing actually happened. So our first question is, obviously is our main question is, did the United States moon landing actually happen? And we had two explanations for this we wanted to explore further in our project, and that was the United States moon landing did happen as one explanation, and the other one was the United States moon landing did not happen. And so a little background information on the moon landing that's kind of important to know is during the early 1960s, President Kennedy promised America that we would have a person on the moon and back before the decade concluded. This was all in the midst of the Cold War, which was fueled by the arms race and rising nuclear threats due to the recent scientific discoveries between the Soviet Union and America. The space race was another way to show their intellectual and scientific superiority over one another, and it became a battle between countries to have the ability to send their people to the moon before their competitors. So our two competing hypotheses would be kind of the same as our explanations, but we're using them as hypotheses to put them in our IBE and test formulas to further try to explain whether these really happened or not. And so the first hypothesis is obviously the United States moon landing happened. The second hypothesis is the United States moon landing did not happen. And so our IBE for our first hypothesis, which is the United States moon landing happened, we can see our evidence for this can be seen through 8,400 publicly available photos, thousands of hours of footage of the moon landing and them in space, lots of scientific data, full transcripts and audio recordings of all air-to-ground conversations of the Apollo mission, and 382 kilograms of moon rock that was brought back to Earth. And an explanation to this hypothesis is it is the most straightforward explanation of all of this happening. Like this is it kind of just like it makes sense. It's not really something you have to chase. It's the available evidence there really shows that it's a pretty straightforward explanation and kind of follows one another. As for the second hypothesis, the United States moon landing did not happen. Evidence could be shadows in the photos show they were fake. Astronauts would not have survived Earth's radiation field. The flag photo on the moon shows wind, which is impossible in a vacuum, and a moon is a vacuum. And then no stars in the photos of the landing. And an explanation of this is this implies that this is a large scale conspiracy involving thousands of people over several decades to take part in deceiving the public, which is way more implausible than the first hypothesis due to its lack of concrete evidence and how improbable it truly would be to occur. Now, as for our test formula, we can run it back through the first hypothesis, which is the United States moon landing did happen. Now we have four aspects we want to look through during the test formula, and the first one being testability. Well, obviously the hypothesis is testable because you can analyze the data you collect and the rocks they brought back for validity. Explanatory scope, it explains a wide range of phenomena, including the physical artifacts left on the moon and the technological advancements since the Apollo missions. Simplicity, it's obviously simpler to believe the moon landing did occur rather than a large-scale sustained conspiracy. And then as for its fruitfulness, the moon landing led to a plethora of scientific advancements in space exploration after the mission occurred. As for the test formula for hypothesis 2, this is the United States moon landing did not occur. The testability was, while the evidence is technically testable, all the evidence provided previously has been debunked, and you can see that through some of the links we have in our work cited. The explanatory scope is it does not account for the physical evidence and technological advancements from the Apollo mission. Simplicity, it assumes a large-scale sustained conspiracy, which is obviously a way more complex explanation. And then the fruitfulness is this hypothesis did not really have any effect on advancements of our understanding in space exploration. And I will now hand it over to Nicholas Way to finish the presentation.
Yeah. So the correct hypothesis conclusion based on the IBE and test formula. Basically, the first hypothesis, the United States moon landing actually happened, is the most plausible hypothesis. It has a simpler and more in-depth explanation, which aligns with the majority of people's scientific understanding today. And as for the second hypothesis, it failed to explain any adequate evidence to support the idea and relied heavily on complex conspiracies. Therefore, the first hypothesis performs better with respect to the criteria of adequacy. The alternative. People may be drawn to hypothesis 2. We did not land on the moon for various reasons. Some may find the idea of a large-scale conspiracy intriguing or exciting. Others may distrust the government institutions, leading them to question official narratives. Still, others may simply be misinformed or lack a full understanding of the evidence supporting the moon landing. Reasoning errors that we encountered were those who accept the H2 hypothesis are likely committing several common reasoning errors. These may include confirmation bias. They may selectively interpret evidence in a way that confirms their pre-existing beliefs while ignoring contradicting evidence. And the second reasoning error was overall reliance on anecdotal evidence, which is they may give in too they may give too much weight to anecdotal evidence, personal testimonies, which are often unreliable and not representative of the broader picture. And in conclusion, while it's important to question and critically evaluate information, it's equally important to base our beliefs on reliable evidence and sound reasoning. The overwhelming evidence supports this conclusion, the conclusion that we did indeed land on the moon.
Awesome. Thank you for watching our presentation. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, thank you.